things off. She is a junior hitting .474, and she is coming with power. They want to start off with a bang. Hitting third is Faith Hegg, who's a freshman and a gap-to-gap hitter.
And there you see Stansel in the leadoff spot tonight, and they will face Auburn right-hander, the senior Michaela Martin in the circle. And Casey, for Michaela Martin, you know what you're going to get, a steady diet of drop balls, and she's going to give her defense a steady diet of ground balls. What's the key for her against UAB tonight?
The key is control her nerves, especially this first home opener, and just trust her stuff and trust her defense. She has what it takes to show up.
Tigers led by second-year head coach Mickey Dean, and had some success last year in his first season on the Plains. 41-17 record at Auburn, and his pitching staff last year, Casey, the lowest ever team ERA in program history. So, and that's what he's got to build around this year with a senior arm of Michaela Martin, who gets the start tonight.
She is. He is known for his pitchers, and that was no surprise to anyone with that ERA last season.
And UAB, they are led by first-year head coach in Jimmy Kalidas. And Coach Kalidas, Casey, he is familiar with the state of Alabama. From Auburn, actually, graduate from Lee Scott High School here locally, spent some time at South Alabama, and before going to Oregon and having a successful tenure there as an assistant coach. UAB got a good one to lead that program.
He is, and he is known for his offense. And so that's what we see so far in UAB is their good offensive start, and that's what we expect to see this weekend.
It's Auburn and UAB opening night of the Plainsman Invitational. It'll be Martin versus Stansel to start us off. And first pitch, bouncer right back to the pitcher. Routine play there for Michaela Martin. Not a bad way to start. One pitch, one down for the Auburn infield. And taking a look at the Auburn infield tonight, Casey, who do you like in this infield for Auburn?
I really like the middles, and Taylon and Casey McCracken. They work so well together, and they cover so much ground.
And the Snows on the left side. Two sisters playing side by side this season for the Tigers. And Martin grooving a first pitch strike to Destiny England. And England, a player at the start of this, or at the top of this order as well. She's from Hoover, Alabama, Spain Park High School. So I'm sure this one will mean a little something to her, getting a chance to play in one of the SEC schools in state.
It is, and we see she's going for the slap, and the Auburn defense has already moved in. They really want to make sure that they don't allow the slapper on to potentially steal a base.
Stansel this season already 1 for 1 on stolen bases. Liner into left center field, and Auburn had that played perfectly. Morgan Padani, the center fielder, there in position. And while Padani makes the out, let's introduce the outfield for Auburn. Morgan Padani calling the shots in center field. Carmen Greenwood, the redshirt sophomore, getting her first start of the season tonight after missing last year to an injury. And, of course, you have one of the most talented players on Auburn's roster in terms of athleticism, and Alyssa Rivera in right field.
Alyssa's definitely a gamer, and she will be the one to come up with those key plays and the key catches also from Morgan Podani. So they cover a lot of ground in the outfield.
Rivera, she threw out a runner at the plate last weekend from right field in Gulf Shores. As Martin, she will even the count up on Faith Hegg. Hegg, a player, Casey, that you and I mentioned earlier in the broadcast. And Coach Kalidas, his comments about her was, hey, had a great opening weekend, but got to find a way to stay consistent this weekend as a freshman, and, of course, facing some good pitching.
It is, and what we see with this Auburn outfield is a shade to the opposite side, and so I expect that they're going to try to hit her on the outside corner with this drop ball.
Well, Hegg, a lefty, she found the gap a lot last weekend with 5 doubles in the opening weekend. Hard bouncer, third base side, and is called foul. That ball rolled perfectly down the line before taking an Auburn turn.
It is, and just like we were talking about, she sees the ball so well, sees it deep, and likes to go opposite field, and that's why we see the shade in the outfield.
Bouncer to short. Snow takes it to Perry, and the inning comes to a close. A 1-2-3 inning. The Auburn Tigers to bat next when we come back from J.B. Moore Field. Scoreless in the home half of the first between the Auburn Tigers and the UAB Blazers. Auburn has a really good sophomore leading off for them tonight in Taylon Snow. Hit over 300 as a freshman last year, Casey.
She is the table setter for this Auburn offense to set up Casey McCracken for a major inning. And so she's going to lead off, and she has the speed, the power, and the pop to be a triple threat.
And for UAB, Claire Blunt will be in the circle tonight for the Blazers. 1-0 on the season, a 3.60 ERA. Casey, she's going to have her hands full tonight with this Auburn batting order.
She is, but I like the fact that they're starting a lefty, and she has a little bit of funk to her to throw off these Auburn offense.
Well, at Auburn last weekend, they faced one lefty last week against Louisiana Tech, and one game that the Tigers dropped last weekend in the Sand Dollar Classic, 2-1 to the Bulldogs there. And the first pitch comes in at 61 for a strike for Claire Blunt. And that's going to be the key for UAB pitching tonight, is stay ahead, attack the zone. And that's one thing Coach Kalinas really wants his pitchers to work on. And Taylon Snow takes care of business over a pitch over the middle and lines the first base hit of the ballgame.
And this is what we were talking about. She is the table setter. She takes a missed curveball that misses middle and takes it straight back up the middle.
And for Snow, that is her 10th hit of the season. And that'll set the table for senior second baseman and Casey McCracken. 4 homers, 5 RBIs the opening weekend.
And we're looking, especially with this Mickey Dean team, is all about the stolen bases. And so we're probably going to see Taylon steal the base either this pitch or next pitch.
Yeah, Taylon last year 7 for 10, 1 for 2 in 2019. And one thing to note about Mickey Dean's teams last season is they had 99 stolen bases. That was the second most in program history. So you combine that with the ERA last season, and that's where you see Auburn's success, because a little change in the identity for the Tigers last season.
It is. He is all about putting pressure on this defense. He's about putting the ball in play and having runners moving the entire time.
McCracken lifts one in the shallow center. England is there, and there's one down in the inning. That's a big out there for Claire Blunt, but still work to do. You have Snow, Rivera, and Veach due up for Auburn.
It is. I like the placement of that pitch much better. That was definitely a pitcher's pitch. Casey McCracken was very aggressive, put a good swing, just barely missed on the outside.
And with one out runner at first, it'll be Taylon Snow to the plate. From Blunt early here, Casey, what are you seeing? How is she attacking these Auburn hitters? Only been 3 hitters up, though.
I've been seeing curveballs and backdoor curves, and a backdoor curve just means it's in the location of where it's normally not supposed to be. So for a righty, they're going that outside curveball, that's a curveball. And we see that the righties, with that speed, that they're getting a little bit out in front of it. The same way with Taylon, she tried to attack on the outside.
Well, Coach Kalinas said that with Blunt being a lefty, she's got a little funk because she's a lefty. She's going to live about 60, 61 with a curveball, drop, and a change.
And we were just introduced to that changeup right there. It looks like a knuckle or a palm change, and so it's definitely much slower than her curveball.
Hard bouncer gets through the left side for a base hit for Taylon Snow, and the Snow sisters combined for 2 base hits. Auburn runners at first and second with a couple outs to work with.
We can see that the shortstop cheated over up the middle, and Taylon just finds that hole. She gets around on the curveball and is able to hit it in the 5-6 hole.
Nice effort there by Stansel. And of course, Stansel, she's having to play shortstop after an injury for the starting shortstop for UAB this season. Just something to note there for the Blazers in the middle infield this weekend.
It is. She's normally a corner, so she's normally first, third, and the move to a shortstop and to cover that much ground is definitely impressive with the weekend she had last weekend.
Stansel going to be a big player, a junior out of Temecula, California. And for Auburn, of course, another impressive bat coming to the plate in Alyssa Rivera. And Rivera trying to have a similar season as she did her freshman season. She was an all-SEC freshman selection 2 seasons ago.
She definitely has the amount, and we're seeing that they're going away from her, and that's right in her wheelhouse. She lives in the left center gap.
Well, Rivera this season, 6 base hits, one of the top averages on the team, 429. Late coming around on the 2-1. So now the million-dollar question. If her wheelhouse, Casey, is away, how does UAB, how do they keep attacking that outside and trying to get Alyssa out tonight?
Well, every single one of these pitches have been outside. They might come in or they might go change, which is what we just saw. You want to mix up those speeds, especially to the middle of the lineup.
That's going to be big here, too, is a little deception here because you're not going to have the velocity that Auburn's used to here. So that's something UAB is going to want to use to their advantage tonight. Payoff pitch, hard bouncer to the left side. Runners will keep moving. Taylon Snow rounds third. Rounding is Tannen. 2 runs will come across the score, and Alyssa Rivera clears the bases with a 1-out, 2 RBI double, and the Tigers take a 2-0 lead.
Alyssa stays over this pitch so well. It's outside again, and she stays over and is able to drive it through the gap in the middle of the field, and she's able to score 2.
And that is why Alyssa Rivera, that's why Mickey Dean has her in the cleanup spot of the Auburn order. Her first double of the season, 2nd extra base hit for the junior.
And to me, I think about Alyssa Rivera, and I think about her doubles. Her doubles all season. The previous year and her freshman year, she lived on her doubles. And so that's just her getting into the routine of this season.
Yeah, 9 doubles last season. In her freshman season, she was the only freshman in the SEC with 20 hits in league play. And a nice off-speed pitch to Kendall Veach on the inner half. It's a 1-1 count for the senior catcher. And Veach, an interesting player for Auburn. Casey, one of your old teammates.
She is definitely the definition of a teammate. She plays first, she plays third, she catches. She is the definition of a utility, and she doesn't matter where the props go.
Had a chance to speak with her before the season, and she said, my goal is to play at every position on the field this season. And chase one low and away. Looks like she may have got a tip. Maybe not. But evens the count on a 2-2 pitch.
And this is what makes the UAB pitcher so dominant, is that she is that lefty and she is throwing the backdoor curve. And so normally, as a right-handed batter, you're going to see a curve inside from a lefty. Now she's able to place it on the outside corner, and so now it's not breaking back towards the batter.
So both teams take a minute to talk things over. This is a big moment, I think, Casey, in the bottom of the first. You have a power hitter in Kendall Veach. You find a gap with Rivera's speed. You go up 3-0. But for Blunt, you make a pitch here, you get one of Auburn's best hitters out. 2-2 gets behind the catcher in Frazier, headed for third, a free base for Rivera.
This is a perfect sac fly opportunity for Kendall. It takes the pressure off now. Now just a ground ball to second base. The sac fly will score the run easy. We see there's no hesitation by Alyssa, and we also see that Sierra Frazier might have been confused with that pitch because she wasn't able to drop to her knees.
Sits back on the off-speed. Scoop by Owens at third. Retires Veach at first. A nice play on the hot corner for Rachel Owens.
And that was a great pitch selection because with a changeup, she's a little bit ahead, and they're able to keep that runner at bay at third base.
So the third run of the game for Auburn holds at third with 2 outs. It's the redshirt sophomore Carmen Greenwood. Carmen from Birmingham, Alabama, playing her hometown team growing up tonight in UAB.
It is, and she is similar to Alyssa in the fact that she likes to stay opposite field, and so this will be right up her wheelhouse if she's able to stay back on this ball.
One finding the outside corner there.
That was a good take by Carmen. You see she kept her hands back, and she was able to keep everything back and not try to chase on that curve away.
Carmen, she missed last season with a shoulder injury, Casey, and had some playing time last weekend in Gulf Shores. As a 2-1 will miss inside. But Casey, when you miss an entire season, how many weekends do you think, give or take, does it take a player to get back to full swing? Because Carmen, even as a freshman, she stepped in and was a role player her freshman season.
It is. I think it takes at least a couple of weekends to get the feel back of just live pitching, and they're trying to strike you out. It's just not your teammates and facing an inter squad. It is real life, real game, pressure's on, and the lights are on.
A 3-2 count on Greenwood. She's tied for the team high, 3 walks on the team. Bouncer to first, handling the hops, Crawford, and the inning comes to a close. For Auburn, they strike first, Alyssa Rivera. A 2 RBI double to left center. And headed to the second, the Auburn Tigers lead this one 2-0 over UAB. 2-0 Auburn in the top of the second on opening night at 2019 Jane B. Moore Field. And for UAB, they come to the Plains seeking an upset tonight. They are led by first-year head coach Jimmy Kalidas. And one thing he's trying to bring to UAB is championship experience. You look at his resume, he has it as an assistant coach because UAB only one regular season championship in program history, no tournament championships, Casey. And what can a coach like Coach Kalidas bring to a program like UAB?
He's bringing that. He's been there before. He's had that experience. He's been to the College World Series. He's won championships. And so Jimmy Kalidas at UAB is saying, we're not here to win games, we're here to win championships. And that's his mindset. And it might take him a couple years, but you're going to see that culture develop.
Had a chance to talk with Coach Kalidas this week, and he said, hey, it's simple. We've got to do the same thing we did last weekend, but even on a more consistent basis. While they produced good numbers, they had ups and downs last weekend, just like every other team did across the country.
He's definitely all about improving and all about being consistent. He really talked about his pitchers being more consistent, hitting the corners, his offense being able to produce with runners on. And so just keeping that consistency and being confident.
Crawford takes the 1-1 low for a 2-1 count, and I thought one of the biggest things that stepped out to me or stood out to me was his offense about having the ability to make adjustments against good pitching. Because hey, he's been around, he knows they're going to see good pitching, and you're seeing one of the better pitchers in the country tonight in Michaela Martin.
It is, and what I like to see so far is they're being aggressive at good pitches. And so we're not seeing them chase too far down or too far away. We're seeing them swing at good pitches, and they're not check swinging. They're swinging, full swing, and so I love to see that out of UAB right now.
So for Sarah Crawford, a 400 hitter. She works the full count on Michaela Martin, the first full count of the night for the right-hander.
It is so important, this pitch right here, because as an Auburn team, you want to keep the runner off first base, and as UAB, you want to be the first one on first base.
And for Michaela Martin, goes low for the strikeout. Crawford chases, and it's one down in the inning. Martin with her first strikeout victim of the night.
And that is, what a pretty drop ball inside. That is a pitcher's pitch, and you have to swing at this to protect with 3-2, and Michaela definitely won that battle.
Coming to the plate for UAB, a familiar face on the Plains is left fielder Jenna Olszewski coming to the plate. Olszewski, a transfer from Auburn this season. And Olszewski goes back to her hometown in Birmingham. Hoover, of course, right outside of Birmingham. And last season for Auburn, she hit a couple of home runs for Auburn in her freshman season. And it's one thing about Jenna is you cannot let the size fool you. Liner right back up the middle, off of Martin. Snow throw, she's late. And Jenna Olszewski, the former Tiger, having a one-out base hit to her return to Jamie Moore-Field.
Another aggressive swing by Jenna. You see the pitch is missed middle, and she takes it right back up of where it came to Michaela Martin. What a great piece of hitting.
Well, for Jenna there, you're facing an old teammate. Do you have a bit of an edge on your teammates, a player that you've seen many times in practice?
I think it works both ways because the pitcher knows what you can't hit, and as a hitter, you're confident because you've seen her so many times.
Bouncer left side to Blunt. Snow takes it to first. Ball dropped by Perry. In and out of the glove. Everybody safe.
What I want to note here is that we already had movement from Jenna at first base. She was going on this pitch. That means that from the booth, we see Tannen doesn't even look at second base. That is impressive communication by Casey McCracken to not even hesitate to go two. She throws automatic one, a little bit of a low throw, and I'm sure Justice wants that one back.
So for UAB, all of a sudden you have the tying runners on first and second. Talk about a little response here from UAB after giving up the first two to Auburn.
It is. They are responding back, and you always want to answer. Auburn put up 2 runs. You want to answer back right here.
Now we're at the bottom of the order for UAB, and the 7 hole is Sierra Frazier, the catcher.
And I will be interested to see if we do try to bunt here after with a runner on first and second.
And for Martin, getting out ahead 0-2, important with runners on base because now all of a sudden you control the at-bat here against the opposing team.
It is, and what we see out of Blunt right now is that she's chasing that drop ball. She sees it, it looks so good, and right there we see she's just over the ball.
3 pitches and a strikeout for Michaela Martin, her second of the night, and is 2 down in the top of the second.
And we see that Michaela Martin delivers another great drop ball. It's out of the zone, which is where you want with an 0-2 count, and that it looks good. It starts to the knees, and it just falls out of the zone.
Third baseman Rachel Owens, next batter for UAB.
Definitely want to have a productive at-bat right here. You don't want to leave runners at first and second and let the momentum shift back to Auburn.
Owens, one of the players from the West Coast, and that's one thing Coach Kalinas will bring to this team over time is he's been out west, might have some ability to bring some players from the West Coast to Alabama, Casey.
It is, and once he builds his program and has that success, he has his name now. That's the brand that he brought to UAB, and he's just trying to get that conference championship and build off of that.
2-0, a hitter's count. Owens pulls the trigger, but that drop-off remains to be tough from Michaela Martin.
It is. As a hitter, you have to anticipate where it's going to drop. You can't swing it where it is, or you're going to miss over every time. You have to swing it where you believe it's going to drop to.
Martin going low again for the swing and miss.
Topping out at 69 on that one. The harder she throws, the better that drop ball falls off the table, and so that's going to be a thing to look for. If she stays 67 to 69, then that drop ball is falling off the table.
2-2, got her swinging. Michaela Martin strikes out 3 after allowing runners at first and second. We head to the bottom of the second. Auburn controls at home. Auburn 2, UAB nothing. Bottom of the second in the loveliest village on the plains. Auburn looking for some more insurance on this Valentine's night. Auburn, the last 2 seasons through 5 games, .312 batting average, 5.8 runs per game. This season, the Tigers 11 home runs, averaging over 6 runs per contest. And in case you look at the numbers with McCracken and Veach, 7 of the teams, 11 home runs. The question is, how much does Auburn rely on the long ball this season?
It is. What we like to say is it's a product of a good swing. A home run is a byproduct of a good swing. And as long as they don't want to rely on it, as long as it's just helping add that score up and up, then it's fine. And so that's going to be the key, is staying consistent.
Had a chance to speak with Coach Dean this week about that topic as one of his home run hitters, Justice Perry, comes to the plate. She hit one last weekend, but Coach Dean said, hey, we'll take them when we can get them. But the main thing with him is, like we discussed earlier, is got to move runners, go gap to gap, go station to station on the bases. And that's what he's looking for. He's not looking for the long ball. Again, when you get it, great, but you can't rely on it.
And just like we saw in the first inning, he likes to move the runners, stolen bases, trying to get the ball moving and keeping the defense on their toes. And so a home run, it's great, but it's also a rally killer.
For UAB, they're trying to keep the Tigers off the board here in the second inning. And Claire Blunt attacking the lefties and the righties, Casey, on the outer half part of the plate. That's where she likes to live tonight.
It is, and she's forcing these Auburn hitters to be patient. SEC team, you're used to facing 65, and we're seeing 61 here. And so as a hitter, you have to be able to start later and to be able to sit back on this ball.
And a liner through the right side, a leadoff base hit for Justice Perry. And the Tigers' hitting streak continues. 3 hits in the ball game tonight.
And 3 easy hits. They look simple. This is a controlled swing. She takes that curveball on the outside part of the plate, and she just drives it to right field, not trying to do too much. This is a great single to lead off the inning.
And with Justice Perry, she picks up her 6th base hit of the season. Again, 1 home run being one of those. Claire Blunt delivers a strike inside to Haley Neeland, the designated player for Auburn. Neeland, the freshman out of Spring, Texas in Oak Ridge High School, making her first career start as an Auburn Tiger tonight. Gets away from Frazier. And Perry takes second base, standing up. Second pass ball of the night from Frazier.
And that is something she's going to have to be able to stop. You need to stop the runners getting from first and second. And so that's definitely just going to be of calming down and calming those nerves, because that's what it looks like from up here, just a little nervous.
Blunt delivering another strike to Neeland. But Casey, for a freshman on opening night at home, being in the starting lineup, what would your advice be to a freshman from any team in this situation?
See-ball, hit ball. Keep it simple. Try to drive it up the middle and just be able to slow the game down.
Neeland, she did pick up her first career base hit in an Auburn uniform last Sunday. That came against Florida A&M as the Tigers closed out the Sand Dollar Classic. That's the pitch Blunt was trying to go up high with. But those are the pitches, a waist pitch, but even then you want to get it at least somewhat closer to perhaps draw a swing.
It is, and what we noticed is the changeup is a little bit off this inning, and so she's able to rely on that outside curveball, being able to get the Auburn offense to try to chase a little bit for you.
Blunt gets the ground ball to third, and Rachel Owens, the third baseman, does a great job checking Perry back to second and had more than enough time to make the throw to first.
And we see the check back from Owens. She has plenty of time to be able to throw a nice controlled throw to Crawford over at first base.
Morgan Padani coming to bat for Auburn.
And she is one, too, that not only with her power, she can also lay a bunt down so quick. She has the speed that we see that third base is going to have to be at least a few steps up closer because of that sneaky bunt right there.
Throw down the third, gets away. Perry will hold at third at Auburn. You see Mickey Dean right there trying to play a little small ball, move the runners, be aggressive on the base pass.
So this is a fake bunt steal. This is a steal all the way, and we see that broken down coverage right there. The shortstop's coming by. She's like, oh, wait, that's me. I have to cover. And so just a little bit of a miscommunication and a hesitation causes Justice to be able to be safe at third.
Perry, her second stolen base of the season.
And here's an opportunity for a squeeze, for a sac fly. Anything can happen right here.
Goes opposite field. Hag makes the catch. Perry will tag. The throw coming in. The catcher, Frazier, dropped the ball. A sacrifice fly successful. And Justice Perry scores to give Auburn a 3-0 lead.
what a great opportunity by Morgan Podany being able to get that sacrifice fly. And we see that Haig is so good at making this throw, delivers a great throw to Frazier, and just not able to put the tag on before she catches the ball. So to me right now, I think Frazier needs to calm down, take a little bit of a breath, and be able to breathe and get past this inning right here.
Now it's back to the top of the order for Taylon Snow. Snow led off the ball game for Auburn with a base hit, scored a run for the Tigers in the first inning. And that's one thing Snow does so well. She has 6 runs scored on the season this year. And she was a big part of Auburn's offense last year, again hitting .325 as a freshman.
She is definitely that table setter that the Auburn offense needs. And we see in this at-bat, this time around, that Blunt is hitting on the inside. And so that's going to be something to watch to see if she changes from hitting the outside to going back and hitting these hitters inside first.
And an off-speed strike. Nice pitch there by Claire Blunt.
Just a great job going from a curve in, little bit high, and that's a pitcher's pitch all day long.
Yeah.
That's something as a hitter you don't want to swing at, especially with the changeup.
And with Frazier, give her credit. I thought she sold it well behind the plate.
She did. That was definitely, it's a pitcher's pitch. Belt high changeup, Taylon with 2 strikes. She trusts her 2-strike approach right here.
Quick meeting in the circle for UAB. Auburn scores 2 in the first, and Auburn adds on here in the second. Now a 2-2 count. Casey, what are you trying to do here if you're UAB?
Keep her off. Keep her off the bases. I would go away.
Bouncer to second. Clem. Quick throw to first, and the inning comes to a close. Auburn gets 1 off of base hits. Coming up, we'll meet with UAB head coach Jimmy Kalinas after the break. Stay tuned. Auburn and UAB continues in a moment. Top of the third inning in the loveliest village on the plains. Auburn on opening night at Jane B. Moore Field. 3-0. They lead their in-state team in UAB. Second time around through the order for UAB this inning, facing Auburn's Michaela Martin. Martin will face 9-1-2 of UAB, but Martin, she's been steady tonight. 3 strikeouts all in the second inning.
And definitely, as Ashton Clem is coming up, she is a second baseman. She's a junior, but she has 7 hits on the season. So she's not the typical 9 hitter. She's the one to turn that lineup over quickly.
So Martin giving up the 1 hit, an infield single, but no harm done. Again, it'll be Clem, Stansel, England. Important to get Ashton Clem here if you're Auburn, because what UAB has at the top, Casey, I mean, again, they're swinging it as well as anybody after the first 6 games.
It is, and as we saw, that they're aggressive. And so if you have runners on, more balls are able to drop in holes.
Clem to lead off the game, or excuse me, lead off the third inning. A second baseman for UAB, hitting .438, bottom of the order this season. One of 5 players hitting above .400 through 6 games. And although it's 6 games, still a lot of production coming out of the lineup for UAB.
It is, and especially being a right-handed batter. And so I think that's the biggest key, is usually in the 9-hole hitter, you have a slapper who leads it back over to a slapper. And so to have a .438 batting average in the 9-hole as a right-handed batter, that's very impressive.
Clem with an extra base hit, 7 total hits on the year. Also has driven in 2 runs. One. Martin looking for the call, little miss.
And that was definitely a pitcher's pitch right there. That was a great location, great pitch, and good eyes by Ashton Clem ahead in this count.
Clem, another Alabama native for UAB. She's out of Moody High School in Moody, Alabama.
What we see so far is Michaela Martin is attacking the inside part of these hitters in the right hand. She wants to get in on those hands and to get those jam shots.
Martin tonight with 2 ground ball outs, 3 strikeouts, and blows it by Clem on the 3-1, works the count full.
Just like that, just so we've seen with all those strikeouts is all the inside part, that inside drop. As a hitter, you have to be able to get your barrel to that ball, especially on a upper 60 drop in.
Payoff pitch, and Clem fights one off inside.
That was definitely a better adjustment. She touched that ball. She was still a little bit on top, but able to make an adjustment during that at-bat.
How do you make an adjustment like against a pitcher like Michaela Martin, who's going to stay down and as a righty going to attack you inside?
Well, you have to get your foot down sooner, and so you have to be a little bit earlier than you usually are. And then having the ability to adjust. If I guess and I'm a little over the ball, then that next adjustment needs to be I'm going to swing a little bit under.
Big walk there for Ashton Clem. Gives the Blazers a leadoff runner on first. First walk of the night for Michaela Martin, one she wants back.
And definitely, just like we see in college softball, if you get the first runner ahead, then it opens for a big inning.
Is back to the top, and Dylan Stansel for UAB. Stansel, the Ole Miss transfer. A little hit and run action going as Clem goes off the pitch. But Stansel fouls it back to the screen.
And that is the second time we've seen a runner in motion, the first pitch on first base. And so you can see that Jimmy Colitis is definitely trying to test the arm of Kendall Veach and the coverage.
Well, you got to respect the aggressiveness of UAB. Again, down 3-0, they're trying to make something happen. Bouncy ball to first. Perry checks the runner to second. Instead, will go to first. And a smart play. Go where you can ensure yourself the out, because there's a lot of speed coming from Clem from first to second.
With the movement on that play, she was already going. She has an extra 3 steps.
Yeah.
So the great job by Justice Perry of not throwing 2, because she has the hesitation that you have to wait for Taylon Snow to get over to second base. And if you throw it and as you wait for Taylon, then you might not even get it out. And so that was a great heads-up play, but also by UAB by not allowing a double play to happen.
So runner in scoring position for UAB. Second runner they've had on second tonight is Destiny England. Center fielder to the plate. She lined out to center. Had the hardest hit ball of the night for UAB back in the first.
It is, and we see a good pitch by Michaela Martin on the outside corner. As an Auburn defense, what you want right now is a ground ball to the left side. You want to be able to keep that runner at second base and not let her move up to third. And so we might see that she stays on the outside corner to force a ground ball to the left side.
1-1. Off speed, Martin goes, and England somehow gets a piece of it and works the count 1-2. But for Martin, the last inning she had runners at first and second. How did she keep those runners put? Pretty simple. She just struck every batter out afterwards.
Drop inside, live on the inside part of the plate. But as a lefty with a slapper, if she's able to get her hands, because slappers have quicker hands than usually most power hitters, if she gets a ball in the hole, it's an easy triple.
1-2, bouncer to third. Snow goes to first to Perry, and moving up to third is Ashton Clem.
And this is what I was talking about. You want to get a ball to the left side, but even though they had the chance to get the runner at third, she says, I don't want to try. I'll get the out because there's already going to be 2 outs. I trust my pitcher that there's 2 outs, so we're going to get this out right here.
And when you have a pitcher like Michaela Martin, you have to instill that trust. I mean, this is what Auburn builds around, defense and pitching.
It is, and that's the confidence in the hitters, or in the defense, telling the pitcher, hey, I know you can get this last out. I have more trust in you than I have in the opposing batter.
UAB, the closest they have come all night to scoring. Runner at third, 2 outs. One of their best hitters at the plate in Faith Haig. And with Haig, one thing to keep in mind, she is a freshman, started every game of the season so far for UAB, and now she finds herself in a hitter's count. 2-0 against Michaela Martin.
It is, and it's going to be an interesting location right here because we see the Auburn defense is still shaded again opposite field.
Martin looking for a call outside corner, doesn't get it. She's walked 1 this inning, and it's Clem who stands on third.
And as a 3-0 count, it's going to be interesting to see if she has a green light right here. top hitter in the lineup, does she have the green light? Because she could score the run right here.
And Martin grooves one right down the middle. And UAB says, hey, we'll take our chances in. And part of that, I think, could be from experience. Runner at third, 3-0 count. I mean, not many times this year has Hag been in this situation, if at all. 3-1 goes up and in. Hag will chase. And just like that, Martin goes from 3-0 to 3-2.
And definitely we see that Heg was a little bit late on that inside pitch. She keeps her hands in so well that she stays opposite field, and so that might have just showed that, hey, let's go inside again.
Payoff on the way. Slow chopper to third. Snow to first. Inning over. UAB threatens with a runner on third, but that's all they'll get. Headed to the bottom of the third. It's Auburn 3. Auburn wastes no time in the first inning to get the offense going. Alyssa Rivera laces one to the left center field wall. That'll score 2, and Auburn leads 2-0 after 1. Headed to the second, Morgan Padani lines one to right, and Justice Perry scores from third. Sacrifice fly, and the Tigers lead it 3-0. Headed to the bottom of the third. For Auburn, they have the heart of the order due up in the third. It's McCracken, Snow, Rivera. Casey, if you're Auburn, how do you keep that going here this inning?
Make adjustments. They've seen Blunt one time around. They've noticed that, hey, she has a slower off-speed curve. You're going to have to sit back and wait on this pitch. And so we're going to see right here, second time through the lineup, start making adjustments.
So do you take, or how much of a different approach are you taking in the second at bat compared to the first at bat when you're facing a pitcher like Blunt tonight?
Well, as a player, you can watch video all day long, but it's not the same as being in the box. And so we don't know what the ball looks like, what the pitcher looks like moving. And so as a second time around, you're able to be like, okay, I know what her spin looks like, how much her ball moves. This is what I'm going to take to the next at bat.
McCracken leading off for Auburn, 0-for-1 with a fly out. It was to center field. Goodness, she hit over 500 on opening weekend with 4 home runs opening weekend and putting up big numbers with 5 runs batted in. Because that's the thing, most of her home runs were solo home runs. Just think what her stats could be if more runners were on base. And it's a hard shot off Blunt's shin. And McCracken will leg that one out easily down the first base line. And now the question is, how badly will Blunt field that one? Because pitcher, you were going to need your legs.
Oh, it looks like she's just shaking it off. She's like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. Don't come out here. I'm going to get this out. I'm going to get the double play. And so that is the competitiveness and that spirit and that drive by Blunt saying, leave me out. I'm okay.
Well, one thing's for sure, she's a lot tougher than I am. Because and the umpires are going to give her a couple warm-up pitches here. And she says, hey, I only need one.
And that's one of those things as a pitcher, you're more upset. You're like, oh, I gave that pitch away.
Sure.
And you're actually a little bit, it's like, okay, at least it was only a single.
Let's take another look at where exactly it got her.
And so it missed, and luckily it wasn't on the ball itself, and so it at least got a little bit of muscle in there, but that thing is definitely going to start tightening up here in the next couple innings.
Runner at first, here's Tannen Snow. Snow launches one left field, but takes a UAB turn foul.
Like the aggressiveness by Tannen Snow. She's on time. That pitch was in the box with her. She was able to turn on it. Wasn't able to keep it fair, but at least she has her timing down and has that confidence.
Snow had a base hit for Auburn in the first, one of 2 runs to come home and score.
And so we see right here, it's very interesting, the third baseman and the first baseman are cheating holes massively. And so second and short, you see second base is covering the steal because she's so close, but first and third are definitely opening up the lines, saying we're gonna challenge you to beat us down the line instead of beating us in a hole.
For UAB in the outfield too, they have Destiny England cheated in center. After the change, Blunt goes high, his 2-2.
And the cheating towards the pull side, as Tannen, she is a power hitter. She wants to pull it. She wants to lift it to left field. And so that's why we see the cheat also in the outfield.
Bouncer over the pitcher's glove, steps on the back for one, throws to second for two, and Ashton Clem turns the 4 unassisted 3 double play. And just like that, one ground ball results in 2 outs for UAB.
And that is all about positioning. If no one was on base, this is easily a single. But as a second baseman, she has cheated up the middle to cover that stolen base, that she's in the perfect position to take one step on the base, and throw it straight to first.
That clears the bases for Alyssa Rivera. And off speed inside, and Blunt gets ahead 0-1. And that's a pitch she's starting to lean on here through the second time around.
It is. If that pitch is on, then she has the ability to change speeds, whereas the first time around, it was more just the curveball.
Finds the strike zone again on the inside corner. How high do you think Blunt's adrenaline's pumping after being hit with a softball on that first batter, and then you draw the double play, and now you're have a hitter in the hole 0-2?
You just get in the tunnel vision. Tunnel vision is all that is right there. And that is a great pitcher's pitch. 0-2, you've already gotten Alyssa to jump back a little bit on the first backdoor curve. This one, it's definitely white line. It's a great pitcher's pitch, great 0-2. That's white line. It is a ball, but definitely one that you might get a hitter to swing at.
After working inside, Blunt goes away. Good eye by Rivera.
And good job not to chase, because she's already seen 3 inside pitches, and so it's really easy to be like, oh, that might be a strike. But she's able to keep her hands back and realize that that's a ball.
Sits back on the all-speed, bouncer to Clem, and Clem takes care of all 3 Auburn batters in the third. Through 3 in Auburn, Tigers on top, 3-0. Florida picked to win the SEC for a second time this season, or in the second time in 2 years. 10 teams out of the SEC ranked in the top 25. Of course, the most of any conference. Not a surprise there. But, Casey, your sleeper team in the SEC, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Well, what's your thought process there?
They competed under the new head coach last year. She did an amazing job of turning the program around to a championship qualified team. They hosted their first super regional, or they hosted their regional and had a super regional, and unfortunately they had Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And so that's a hard one to have your first super regional with, but I do think that a lot of people are going to doubt, because if you have one great season, it's oh, well, that was a fluke season. But now that they're on everybody's radar, I still believe that they can compete with the best.
Mary Half doing a great job in Fayetteville, and Arkansas place. That's where the Auburn Tigers, they are going to finish the 2019 regular season in SEC play. Sarah Crawford leads off the top of the 4th for UAB, and late coming around on the first pitch.
But we already see an adjustment right now from Sarah Crawford, because her first at bat, she missed over every single time on a drop inside. That one, she stays inside the ball and is able to make contact. She still is making good contact. It's just now being on time.
And Martin locates on the inner half ahead 0-2. Nice way to start the 4th.
It is, and Crawford probably second-guessed herself on that, because she's like, oh, she might start going down the ladder, down the plate, and that was a great pitch by Michaela Martin on the knees.
Martin going inside, looking for that strikeout there. Nice pitcher's pitch there, given the scouting report of Crawford in the second inning.
It is, and now we already start seeing what Jimmy Kalidas does with his offense, of making those improvements second time around offensively.
1-2. Did she go around? They'll say she did. 4th strikeout for Michaela Martin. And that's what the movement of Martin can do.
It is. That's a strike all day, and she's trying to tell herself, is it going to drop? Is it going to be a strike? And at that time, the ball's already by her. And so what a great pitch by Michaela Martin.
Well, UAB, they have 1 base hit on the night, and it came by the hands of Jenna Olszewski. Olszewski to the plate.
The first at bat, she had a nice line drive back up the middle, and we see that first pitch that Michaela Martin is trying to go a little bit more inside, trying to nibble her to see, can I get that jam shot?
And Martin going right back to that inside corner.
She's definitely trying to get a ball off the handles. That's, I say a jam shot because she didn't barrel in, and so that's what Michaela's going after right now. Great eyes by Jenna.
Slow roller to short. Snow, quick throw to first in time to beat the speedy Olszewski to first. And it's another thing about Olszewski, not only pop, she has speed as an outfielder for UAB.
It is, and that was a great pitcher's pitch. Michaela won that battle. Jenna won the first battle, and so that's going to be a good setup for that third at bat to see what's going to come.
So Michaela Martin, 7 pitches, 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Here's Claire Blunt. Blunt, the pitcher, batting 6th tonight. Ball down the third base line. Home plate umpire hops up and says foul ball. 0-2 count for Martin.
Definitely a good call. Claire Blunt steps in the bucket and she keeps herself open, but still able to make contact on this outside pitch. Tannen lets it go foul at the very end, potentially being able to set up Michaela Martin for the strikeout pitch.
Martin has 4 tonight, 1 this inning. The 0-2. Goes off speed, almost got her, but Blunt, good composure to know to, hey, just hold back enough to fight it off.
It is. That's a great 2-strike approach. She realizes that it's a changeup. She's out in front, but she's still able to stay alive. Get to the next pitch. That's your goal, is a 2-strike approach.
0-2, got her swinging. Michaela Martin dealing in the circle tonight for Auburn. 5 strikeouts. Auburn 3, UAB nothing. Headed to the bottom of the 4th. Bottom of the 4th inning in the loveliest village on the plains. A chilly Valentine's Day night in Auburn, but good news for the home team. They lead UAB 3-0. And for Auburn, taking a look at some offensive struggles that the Tigers have had. Auburn, they've kind of gone down from where they once were. My broadcast partner, her absence may have a little something to do with that. But Casey, Auburn, no question about it, they want to take a step back forward this year, and that's something they learned the hard way last weekend. When they struggled, it was when they had struggles moving runners. So this season with Coach Dean, how do you implement that and try to take a step forward? Because if they scored a few more runs last season, Auburn all of a sudden goes from a number 2 seed in a regional to being a pretty dangerous team.
Well, you have to put in that inspiration that a single is just as good as a walk. And so to be able to get to first base, that's the goal, because as we see, Coach Dean loves to run. And so if you can just get the runner on first base, then you're able to make plays happen.
Kendall Veach leading off the 4th inning for Auburn. Veach, after a great opening weekend, returns to Auburn for her senior season. And she's been one of those players that it feels like she's been on campus for a long time at Auburn. And within the blink of an eye, though, here it is in the Selma, Alabama native, trying to be a leader on this Auburn team. One of 5 seniors for Auburn.
That was a good take by Kendall. And what we noticed, actually at the end of that barrel, it actually says number 11. So that's Casey McCracken's bat. And so as a hitter, you're actually starting to switch things up. It's like, okay, maybe it's the bat. And so that's a little interesting tidbit right there, is that she's swinging Casey McCracken's bat.
Lines one, straight away center field. Is going to drop at the warning track. Veach heads for 2. Well, switching bats worked for the catcher. A leadoff double for Kendall Veach.
It's in the bat. It's in the bat. What a great swing by Kendall Veach. She stays over this ball, stays connected, and drives it all the way to the center field fence.
Well, you have to wonder, too, was there a malfunction with Veach's bat? I mean, could be a couple of things here.
No, it's usually just switching it up. Switch up the juju. Switch up the juju.
So how many times as a hitter did you switch up the juju?
Oh, I switched up the bat. If I had a bad game,
All right.
Next.
Here's the next question. What player did you swap with?
Whoever was swinging the same bat. Who was ever hitting that day, you kind of switch up with. But no, sometimes when I played is we had 2 bats. And so you had a game bat and you had a practice bat. And then right when your game bat got hot, you switched it over for the playoffs. And so you kept that bat hot just for playoffs. And so sometimes I would switch out either with my practice bat or my playoff bat.
So Casey McCracken lending the bat to the teammate, and it's a leadoff double. But for UAB, it'll be Bailey Barnes, the right-handed pitcher, to come on. And Bailey, she's returning to her home county in Lee County, Alabama. She's from 5 minutes down the road in Beauregard, Alabama. And for Barnes, she is a sophomore, has a drop and a good change. But
if we're going off the speed right now, going from 61 to 58, slowing it down, seeing a different style going from a lefty to a righty, and you're trying to stop the damage. Leadoff double, you want to make sure that you keep them off balance and you don't open yourself to a big inning.
So what's your advice to Barnes coming in after seeing how these Auburn hitters hit against Blunt? What's your advice here? That one coming in, plucked hard. Greenwood on the shoulder, and it's first and second, nobody out.
To me, honestly, that's not actually too bad because now you instill a double play.
Sure.
And so as bad as it is to take one, as a defense and as a third baseman, you're okay. It's like, okay, we have a double play option. So as a defense, that's actually better to have runners at first and second, in my opinion.
First and second for Justice Perry. Perry made her trip around the bases in the second inning. Led off the inning with a single, reached second on a pass ball, then stole a base, moved over to home after a sacrifice fly.
It is, and she hits the ball so hard that it sometimes opens her up for double plays. And so she hits one hoppers straight to the shortstop that are lasers, but it opens herself up for those double plays. So she needs to stay through a ball and drive it to the outfield.
Barnes getting ahead 0-2, finding the outside corner.
It is, and as a pitcher, if you hit the first batter you face, the next batters are a little hesitant to get on the plate, and so we see that she's staying on the outside corner. And as that next hitter, if you see her live inside, you're like, oh, she might come inside and be a little gun shy on that inside part of the plate. And so that's definitely working to her advantage.
Perry, a junior out of Prior Lake, Minnesota.
And what just happened right there, they're switching balls because at that foul ball, she hit it off the end of the bat, and she actually might have tore the seam off the ball. And so PJ Gallardo, if I'm not mistaken, is behind home plate. And he's like, hey, let me see that ball. And the reason it's so important is that you have the ability to add a little bit more spin to the ball.
Can't blame a player for trying, though. Little gamesmanship.
Absolutely not.
0-2 misses away. UAB seeking it out. Auburn would love to clear the bases here. Hard liner, fair ball down the line. Veach will score easily. Greenwood being waved home. Perry cruises into second and clears the bases with a 2 RBI double. And the Tigers extend the lead 5-0 over UAB.
This is a great two-strike approach by Justice Perry. We see that she's gotten outside pitches all day. She gets an inside pitch, and she turns on it. This is a ball down the line, and the third baseman doesn't even have time to react. It's already by her. Owens has already been like, okay, let me be able to go cover my base. It's already past her before she's able to move, and so that was a laser by Justice Perry, and what a great piece of hitting.
Perry's first double of the year, 6th RBI of the season. Auburn piecing together at bats. And we have a pinch hitter coming up for Auburn. It'll be the junior, Brittany Marisette, coming to the plate.
And she has deceptive too because she has a lot of pop. She will go gap to gap, and she's not the average slapper. She is able to bunt, but she's also able to hit a home run. And so she is the definition of a triple threat.
Yeah, Marisette, she came to Auburn after being a catcher in high school, moved to the outfield.
she has speed.
Yeah.
She doesn't have long strides like you usually see. She's short strides, but definitely a lot of speed, and she has that confidence when she steps in the plate or in the box.
Bouncer to short, glove slide, Stancil, easy play to first, and that'll move Perry to third with 1 out.
And so even though she got out, that's a productive out because she's able to advance the runner from second to third, but that's also because of Justice Perry's base running. And so she sees that Stancil is going to her backside or going to her glove side, and she's not going to be able to set her feet and throw to third base. So great piece of base running by Justice Perry.
Now Morgan Padani to the plate, takes a first pitch strike, and Padani had one of the better piece of hitting of the night for Auburn with a runner at third, 1 out. Her last at bat had a sac fly to right field. Now lays down a bunt. Gonna be a tough play. Infield single, Morgan Padani.
She put down the absolute beauty of a bunt, and even though it's not a squeeze, it's her ability to say, I'm going to get on base to set up Taylon Snow. And it's just the ability to flip back up to the top of the order. Just a beautiful piece of bunting. Down the line, no way that you're able to cover and be able to throw her out at first base. And so as a defense, that was goodly executed. You know, they didn't make a bad throw. And as an offense, you got another runner to first base.
Auburn doing a little more this tonight, what they wanted to do opening weekend, and blind drive base hits, moving runners off contact. Liner, left field side, foul.
And the great at-bat by Morgan Padani not only means that Taylon gets an at-bat, it also means Casey McCracken gets an at-bat.
Which means a lot, as McCracken, by most, is considered to be the biggest threat in Auburn's lineup. She's hitting second in the order. Runner goes to second, and Padani steals a base easily. Her first stolen base of her senior season.
And the importance of that stolen base is that you take away a double play.
Exactly.
Even though Taylon is very fast, you take away the ability to have a double play.
And even with Padani's speed, but you bounce one the right way. We saw it earlier with Clem at second. She's already shown off her ability once tonight. All it takes is the right hop, regardless of speed. 2-2 coming inside. And Snow goes from 0-2 to 3-2.
And that's already a productive at bat. She's seeing pitches. She has the ability to work the count all the way to a 3-2 and get back in the count.
Payoff pitch. Liner, left field side, and drops. Perry scores. Padani's waved home. And another base clearing double for the Auburn Tigers. This time it's Taylon Snow, her 7th RBI of the season.
And that's another great piece of hitting. She was just moved off the plate on the inside pitch, and next pitch she sees a drop ball away, and she stays on this pitch and puts a laser show. I think Owens might have tipped it, but man, that was a great piece of hitting down the line. And as we know, as a softball player, when the lights go out, when the sun goes down, that grass gets slick because of the humid, and so that ball just skidded all the way to the fence.
Yeah, because it went all the way to the fence, I thought off the bat initially, just watching it live, I thought it got over the glove just by a few inches, not by much, but for Owens, she was there in position, very easily could have made contact there. But for Auburn, got to give the Tigers credit here. 3 doubles this inning alone, and added the infield base hit from Morgan Padani.
And Kendall Veach, the senior, just started it off. She set the tone of this inning.
Pass the baton, and Auburn 7 runs, 9 hits. And one thing Auburn is not doing tonight, they struggled with last weekend, leaving runners on base. You got to give Auburn credit, trying to make the adjustment here the second weekend.
It is, and if you've played the game of softball or baseball, hits are contagious. And so you pass the baton, but hitting is very contagious. And after one person gets a good piece, if you barrel it, it just keeps rolling on.
McCracken's bat led off the inning with a double for Veach. Will it pay off for the second baseman here with 1 out?
And what we noticed in Barn right there is that she went inside. And so Casey McCracken's been seeing away the entire night. And on that first pitch, or on the second strike, she threw that drop ball inside.
Goes inside, forces McCracken to swing. And McCracken making enough contact.
It is, changing the eyesight. And having the ability to get in on her hands. If you're going to miss to your advantage, and that's what she's doing right now.
Pitch to waste. Good eye by McCracken.
This is definitely going to be a big pitch right here, especially with one out. Are you going to go back inside where you've seen some positive, or are you going to stay away?
1-2, bouncing ball back up the middle. Coach Dean waving Snow home. Throw cut off at the pitching circle, and UAB wants the call. They'll say the tag is late, and McCracken safe at second.
That was a great piece of hitting. Casey McCracken won that battle. It was a good pitch. It was just a little high in the zone, and she kept her hands up. It was an inside pitch and drove it right back up the middle. As the defense, we had Crawford come in for the cutoff. She did a great job, sees that they don't have a play at home, and throws to second. Man, that was a close play. Casey McCracken must have been able to get her foot on the outside part of the base. The throw definitely beat her, but she's able to slide around it.
Yeah, you saw that right foot getting to the back corner of the bag, and that was the difference. And now Auburn in control, 8-0 over UAB in the fourth. And Casey, that 8th run is huge because now that forces UAB, their offense going to have to at least produce one run. Who knows, maybe more. Auburn's not done here in the fourth.
That's correct. This enforces the 8-0. This is a run rule effect. This is the mercy rule. And after 5 innings, it's a complete game if the opposing team's not able to score.
Tannen Snow to the plate. She has power. Snow tonight, 1 for 2, singled in the first, scored a run, hit into that 4 unassisted 3 double play her last at bat. But now for UAB, all right, you have a sophomore in Bailey Barnes, a pitcher that didn't pitch a ton her freshman season, Casey. How do you adjust here in the circle? I know it's tough. Circumstances are going against you here.
To me, just changing the height of the pitches. Right now with 2 strikes, she's living a little bit more belt high versus with 2 strikes, especially when you're seeing a ranked opponent, you have to stay at the knees or right under the letters. So you have to live on those edges, on those corners to be able to get the good hitters out.
Goes opposite field, Snow. She's headed for second. McCracken comes home to score. Another extra base hit for Auburn. The 4th RBI double of the inning for the Auburn Tigers. And this time it goes to Tannen Snow.
And to me, I thought, Barnes, that was a great pitch, but it might have been, we're going to see where the height is, and I believe it's belt high, it's thigh high, and so that is a great spot for a hitter to be able to adjust, throw her bat out there, and go opposite field. Tannen made a great adjustment by not trying to pull an outside pitch. She goes with it, and she winds up with a double and an RBI.
9-0 Auburn. Here comes Rivera. And with Auburn's depth, when everybody's on, when everybody's clicking, this is what Auburn is capable of. This is the kind of performance they are trying to piece together game by game. Easier said than done. But when they're on, this is what they can do.
It is. As a team, you hate to hear the word potential.
Yeah.
But they have the potential to do lots of damage. You know, they have the mixture of power, of speed, of base hitters. And so tonight we see that potential changing.
This is coming from a team that hit 11 home runs over the weekend in Gulf Shores. Tonight, they aren't doing it with home runs. They are doing it with line drive, extra base hits. They're finding gaps. They're landing balls inside the lines and the left center field and right center field gaps. And a pinch runner coming on for Auburn.
Pinch running for the Tigers, number 20, Rachel Cook.
And for Auburn, it'll be the freshman in Rachel Cook. Or excuse me, junior Rachel Cook, the walk-on from Dadeville, Alabama. And for Cook, walked on this fall, and hey, she understands her role. And Coach Dean said, hey, she's taking that role on, and sometimes, Casey, that's what you need. And a liner, shortstop, diving stop. Stancil flips to second for the double play, and just like that, UAB able to get out of the fourth, but not before the Tigers drop 6 on the Blazers. Headed to the 5th, the Tigers are 3 outs away from their first win at home. Top of the 5th in Auburn. It is all Auburn tonight on Valentine's Day. 9-0 Auburn leading UAB, and headed to the top of the 5th. The 8-run rule can come into effect if UAB does not score 2 runs this inning. Remember, regulation 8-run rule games shall be declared by the home plate umpire if one team is ahead by 8 or more runs after 5 or more innings. The Auburn Tigers 10 shutouts last season, an Auburn single season record. And Casey, a chance to do that here tonight. And if I remember correctly, Auburn, they only had 1 shutout win last weekend. That was against Western Kentucky in 5.
Definitely protecting the house. And so you want to win, and you want to make sure that everyone knows that they're coming to play at your house with your fans, and they're going to have to bring their A game to be able to compete with Auburn.
Michaela Martin is going to face 7, 8, 9 here for UAB in the top of the 5th inning. She struck out Frazier and Owens, the first 2 hitters. And on the 1-0, Frazier will miss over the drop.
And last at bat, we saw that Frazier was a little bit behind and on top on it. And so after that first swing, as a hitter, you need to make the adjustment saying, I need to be on time and I need to miss under if I keep missing over the ball. So make an adjustment. Now with 2 strikes, you're a little bit behind, and as a hitter, I'm thinking, well, she's coming inside again. She's beat me inside 4 times, 5 times, she's coming in.
UAB hasn't had a base runner since the 3rd. Martin missing too far in to make it 2-2. Yeah, Martin has had 2 1-2-3 innings. The first and the 3rd innings. And now with a 9-run lead, Casey, what does that do to you as a pitcher? And your home field opening night, knowing you just need 3 more.
Oh, it creates the jitters. You know, you can't get to the 3 outs quick enough. The coaches used to say that, you know, the 3rd out's the hardest out to get in an inning because you're already thinking the game's over. You're already thinking about autographs. You're thinking about everything after the game. And so getting that 3rd out is so important.
And picks up her 6th strikeout of the night. And Coach Mickey Dean certainly going to be happy if his team can close it out here 9-0 against UAB with how Auburn has played tonight, because you take away the 1 error Auburn has had defensively. You know, Auburn's played a really solid game here tonight against UAB, and a team that played really well opening weekend.
All components are fascinating. Pitching, Michaela Martin has been dominant in the circle. Defensively, they had 1 miscue, but it didn't cost them.
Sure.
So it's a win. And offensively, they have fired on all cylinders. And so this is a win for any team. You want to fire on pitching, offense, and defense. And so this is a great comeback to an opening start. And right now, we saw the first pitch that Michaela Martin threw Frazier was 70 miles an hour. And so she is feeling good. She's saying, I'm going to throw it 70 miles an hour, the drop ball. We'll see if you can hit it.
1-2, called strike 3. Michaela Martin, 7 strikeouts on the night. That ties a season high for Martin.
And another time we saw a drop ball inside. And so she's saying, this is my number 1 pitch. I'm not going to try to get away. I want to strike you out in 3 pitches. So that's what her game plan is to get 3 outs as quick as she can.
And it's Ashton Clem to the plate. Clem, the last out, standing between Auburn and a shutout victory here on opening night in the loveliest village on the Plains.
It is, and she had a very productive at-bat. Her first at-bat, she had a walk, but she got to see many pitches. And so that was a great piece of hitting right there, a great foul ball. And her goal is to pass the baton, to not be the last out, and so the ability to get on first base.
Martin taking her time in the circle, working at her pace tonight. Ole Miss inside 2-1. And that's one thing about Michaela Martin, though, is every time she pitches, she's not one that's going to speed it up and move with a fast routine in between pitches. She takes her time, will rub some dirt on her hands. She takes a breath, and that's when she's at her best. 2-1, bouncer to Martin, the throw to first, and Auburn defeats UAB 9-0 in 5. Casey, put this one in perspective for us. It was pitching, it was hitting tonight for Auburn. What stood out to you?
To me, the confidence is they trusted every single part of their game. There was no doubt, there were no nerves, no tenseness, having the ability to make those adjustments.
Let's look at what Michaela Martin did